Do you currently live in San Francisco, California, or somewhere in the Bay Area nearby, and you've been thinking, what's Phoenix, Arizona all about? What if I was gonna make a move, change my lifestyle up completely? What would that look like, and how would that compare to what I currently have in San Francisco and that Bay Area? This is the video for you. Stay tuned. Guys, thank you for joining us here on our video and our YouTube channel, Everything Phoenix, where we discuss just that. We are passionate about Phoenix, Arizona, guys. It is one of the greatest cities in the entire country, so we want to spread the word. So guys, if you could, please ring that notification bell or like us, hit the subscribe button or smash it. We're not mad, just don't break your computer. And we'd be happy to make sure that all our videos get in your inbox. You're notified of them twice a week. We're putting out 2 videos every Tuesday and Thursday so that you can be updated and fully informed on everything Phoenix. The video we have today is a great one because there are a lot of people moving from San Francisco to Phoenix, Arizona. In fact, San Francisco is the #1 metropolitan area that is losing the most population that is going to Phoenix, Arizona. #1 metropolitan area in the entire US, contributing the most population to Phoenix, Arizona. So we want to do a video for all you people who live in San Francisco around the area that are also thinking about maybe moving to Phoenix, as just a video of what to expect, some cost of living adjustments and differences, and I'm betting you're gonna like what you hear. Okay, so here we go. Cost of living, we're gonna go through several different categories and we're gonna put them on the screen here and we're gonna put the score up and you're gonna see just how different and how much further your dollar goes when it comes to living in Phoenix, Arizona. All right, so here we go. Okay guys, the scores of everything we're comparing here is based off a score of 100. So that means if the score comes in at 133, that means for that category, the city is 33% higher for cost of living overall, or whatever the category is, compared to the average US city. If it's below 100, that means it's cheaper than the average US city, okay? So overall, San Francisco comes in at 204 on that scale of 100, whereas Phoenix comes in at 108. So Phoenix comes in as 8% higher to live there above the average US city across the country. And San Francisco comes in at 204, guys, 104% higher than the average cost of living in the average US city. Now I know you'd probably argue, well, San Francisco isn't necessarily average. A lot of people want to go there for a lot of reasons, rightly so. But 204, woo! That is pretty high. That's a high cost of living. Okay, so let's break that down. The first category will be food. All right, so here's some interesting things. Overall, food comes in for San Francisco at 116, whereas Phoenix is at 97. Phoenix is actually 3% cheaper cost of living to live in Phoenix than the average US city. San Francisco comes in high. Now here's a further breakdown of some of that food, which I thought was kind of interesting. So San Francisco, for a gallon of milk, comes in at $4.76 a gallon of milk, whereas Phoenix is $2.88. A fresh loaf of bread, San Francisco comes in at $3.61, whereas Phoenix comes in at $2.44. Eggs, everyone gets eggs, $3.96 in San Francisco as opposed to $2.26 in Phoenix. Chicken fillets, breast of chicken for a pound, comes in at $6.37 in San Francisco, where at Phoenix it comes in at $4.02. And ground beef, $7.51 in San Francisco, $5.37 in Phoenix. And then you have apples, $3.03 in San Francisco compared to $1.70 a pound in Phoenix. And bananas, everyone likes a good banana, right? That's $1.05 in San Francisco a pound, whereas it's 69 cents in Phoenix. So those are some stark differences in how much further your dollar goes when it comes to buying food in San Francisco compared to Phoenix. Now, moving on to housing. Guys, housing is the #1 reason why the cost of living in San Francisco is so much more skewed over Phoenix and, frankly, the rest of the country, right? Housing is expensive in San Francisco. Housing comes in at $562. I can't keep straight face. Let me repeat that, 562 on a scale of 100. It is 462% more expensive than the average US city to live in San Francisco when it comes to housing. Phoenix, on the other hand, is 103. Very affordable, especially for the climate you get in Phoenix. Guys, I can't even, wow, that's a lot. So on that housing note, guys, there are 2 different things in housing, right? There's renting and owning, okay? If you buy. Let's start with the renting, all right? Now, I know a lot of people in San Francisco rent because it's so doggone expensive. I know, I said doggone, sorry. That's, I lived in Mississippi for a year, so there you go. So it's so expensive. Now, San Francisco comes in for a 1-bedroom apartment, okay? in the city center, $28.69 a month, whereas in Phoenix, that comes in at $13.68. That is huge. Now let's just skip right to the 3-bedroom apartment in the city center. That's $7,500 a month in San Francisco compared to $2,200 a month in Phoenix. And if you want a condo or house outside the city center, the average rent in San Francisco is $45.66 a month, and in Phoenix it is $17.01 a month. So much cheaper to live in Phoenix. Now, if you're gonna buy, this is important, guys, because you guys all know my big rant on this. I'm a huge proponent of home ownership. We know the stats, we know the net worth, the average net worth of an American that owns just one house or more is in the ballpark of $350,000 across the country average, okay? Whereas the average net worth for a person in America that does not own one house is in the ballpark of $8,500. I mean, guys, that's not even close, right? So if you're looking to buy a property in San Francisco, let's say an apartment in the city center or a condo, you're looking at the price per square foot being $1,313. Guys, that's the price per square foot. Wow. Whereas in Phoenix, it's $351 in the city center, okay? Now, if you're outside the city center looking to buy a house or condo, the average price per square foot in San Francisco is $940 a square foot, whereas in Phoenix, you're looking at $210. I mean, that, I'm not a mathematician, but that's a little over $700 more a square foot for a place outside the city center between those two cities. That is, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me. So what those numbers on a price per square foot basis come out to be is a median house price in Phoenix of $346,000 currently, and the median house price in San Francisco of $1,471,000, okay? Wow. All right, guys, let's bounce around here. Let's go back to restaurants. Now, I know that's a little different than groceries, so let's do restaurants really quick because there are some differences here as well. For an inexpensive regular meal in San Francisco, you're looking on average of $20, whereas in Phoenix, it's $15. For a meal for 2 people at a mid-tier restaurant, you're looking at $82.50 in San Francisco, whereas in Phoenix, $60. That's pretty cool. A meal deal at McDonald's. Who doesn't like a good meal deal at McDonald's, right? In San Francisco, $10, Phoenix, $9, not a big difference there. And we'll go straight to a cappuccino. This is pretty interesting. $4.81 in San Francisco, $4.80 in Phoenix. Huh, interesting. And for a domestic pint of beer, $7.50 in San Francisco, $5 in Phoenix. So not a huge difference there, but still cheaper in Phoenix. Okay, now moving over to transportation, guys. Now, Phoenix doesn't have a huge public transit system, so transportation is a little different in Phoenix than most other cities because it's so spread out. So having a car is a must in Phoenix. Whereas in San Francisco, I'm told about half the population has one, half does not, and they get around just fine because the walkability in San Francisco is obviously very good. But transportation, you're looking at overall rating in San Francisco for a cost of $158, whereas in Phoenix is $117. So way more expensive for transportation in San Francisco. But let's take a couple different things. A gallon of gas in San Francisco, $4.12 a gallon, $2.79 currently in Phoenix. So in terms of transportation, you know, Phoenix is rated overall as less. You know, that does include car insurance and buying a new car, prices of cars and so on and so forth. That's fairly equal, but it is overall much more cheaper for transportation in the city of Phoenix as opposed to San Francisco. Okay, moving on to utilities. Utilities, guys. Utilities are actually cheaper in San Francisco than they are in Phoenix. Now, the big reason why is clearly because of air conditioning costs, right? In Phoenix, we're in the desert 4 months out of the year. I don't care how tough you are, the AC will be on non-stop. And then you have some shoulder months in there too, where you might want it on for a decent amount of the month as well, depending on the temperature. So overall, that comes in at 101 for Phoenix, just 1% or so above the average across the country. San Francisco comes in at 97.5. Now, we all know the weather in San Francisco is pretty darn good, and in the summertime, it's actually pretty chilly there, month of July, etc. So that's why I would have to argue utility costs are a little less in San Francisco. Now let's go to the last category here, which is the miscellaneous category. The miscellaneous category includes things like clothing, restaurants, repairs, entertainment, things of that nature, kind of all lumped into one because you can get really broken down on a lot of this stuff, guys. And overall, San Francisco comes in at 120, whereas Phoenix comes in at 100, right on the button, okay? So it is a very average US city in terms of cost of living to live in Phoenix when it comes to the miscellaneous category. So overall, what does this really mean? Well, a couple things here. Overall, Phoenix is 55% cheaper to live there as opposed to San Francisco. Wow, that's a lot. Your dollar goes a lot further. In fact, if you have a salary of $100,000 in Phoenix, Arizona, that equates to a salary equal to $37,200 if you live in the city of San Francisco. That's how much less buying power you have living in San Francisco. Now I know you got some awesome weather in the summertime, almost a little too cold, and then you have obviously the ocean nearby, and you have the wineries, and you have some really cool stuff, no question about it. The culture going way back in the 1800s, and you know, the rice-a-roni little street trolleys. I've been there one time. I rode it. I thought it was awesome. The longest road in America, the windy road. Phoenix also has some really cool stuff too. Now it's a newer city, so it doesn't have as much culture going back that far. But guys, Phoenix is an up and coming newer city. It is awesome. We love it. And guys, once you get past September, oh, it's just amazing for the next 8 months, okay? So, I mean, sunny every day, 300 days of sunshine, hardly ever rains, 11 inches a year. That's it. You'll love Phoenix. I promise you, and your dollar will go so much farther, and your lifestyle will be so much better living in Phoenix, Arizona than San Francisco, California. And by the way, plane tickets, not too shabby. You can get a plane flight on southwest.com typically for under $100 one way, and you can go visit San Francisco, have a good time, see Alcatraz, Ghirardelli's, all that stuff, and come on back, right? And have your dollar go so much further living here in Phoenix, Arizona. Guys, I really hope you appreciated and enjoyed our video here to give you the cost of living comparison between San Francisco and Phoenix, and I hope you really enjoyed it. And if you have any comments, please leave them below. We would love to hear what you think to make our videos even better moving into the future. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell. We're putting out videos twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, so that you are up to speed on everything Phoenix. And guys, check out our Instagram handle as well to see everything else we're doing with our team at Kelly Cook Real Estate Group on Instagram, and we will see you on the next video. Take care, guys. Oh, and don't forget, call me.